Today's video is all about makeup trends taken straight from the Spring 2019 runway. I'm going to show you how you can shop your stash and use what you already have in a fresh, new way. Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Melissa and we're going to jump right in and break down the trends that were on the Spring 2019 runway and show you how you can apply them in a wearable way for yourself in real life, because, you know, the runway is not real life. That's always like in a more exaggerated, dramatic way to show a trend. So I'm here to help interpret that and shop my stash and encourage you to shop your stash and just bring a little freshness to your look this spring. I'm going to include a link to my Pinterest board that shows all the research I did in case you want to do a deeper dive and see where these trends came from. I want to start off with your complexion, and there were 3 trends that I saw in my research. The first one is a naked face, totally naked. There were several designers that just sent their models down the runway with nothing on their face, which is what I'm sporting right now. So for me, I'm not sure I would totally sport a naked face out and about because that's just a little too naked for me. I think I would probably go in with my favorite skin tone concealer and just touch up a few little spots that I feel like could use some masking, particularly around my nose, any like sunspots, and I would probably reach for this one from Fenty. I wear it in the shade Linen. This is just, I think, a great little skin tone concealer for me, and it goes on and it's not too like creamy or too emollient, and I feel like it does a great job on my skin. Under my eyes, not so much. I think it's a good skin match. You probably have one in your collection that you like to use on your face. I would suggest you use that. So that's what I would do before I would just go out naked. I would definitely do a little spot concealing. The other trend was a glowing complexion, and you can achieve that in a number of ways. You can use like a primer that has some glowiness to it. I have 2 here that I like quite a bit. One is from L'Oreal. It's the True Match Lumi Glotion. You can put this all over your face. It gives you just a really pretty, just a pretty little glow. I also like this one from Volition. It's the Prismatic Luminizing Shield. It has a sunscreen SPF of 50 and it has that glowiness built in. So this kind of kills 2 birds with one stone, especially during the summer when you maybe don't want so many layers on your skin, and this just gives you a nice little glow. Gives you a nice little glow without being too much. Both of those just would work beautifully. Just a little bit of glow without being too much. The last way I would do this is to reach for a facial oil and just do like a couple of drops in the palm of my hand. You know, 2 or 3 drops, warm it up, and just press it in. And it gives you a nice little glow. This is nice if you already have other makeup on and you just want to add a little glow. So any one of those I think would work. The third complexion trend that I saw was like a bronzy face, like all over bronzing. In one of the headlines I saw, it said, "The bronzer is back." I'm like, did it ever leave? I don't think so. According to this article, the bronzer is back. And so I just went in and pulled out my favorite bronzers that I have in my collection at the moment. The first one is from Laura Geller. This is the Baked Bronze and Brighten, which I talked about in my recent haul video. The other one I like is from Paula's Choice. It's the Sun-Kissed Custom Color Bronzer in an all matte finish. This I decided not to declutter, even though it is no longer available. I like the shades so much in this, I decided to keep it. But for this video, I decided to pull out the IT Cosmetics Ombre Radiance Bronzer because I feel like it accomplishes like 3 things. It has, you know, a darker tone here, a mid-tone, and a little bit of like a glowiness going. If I were going to apply this to my face, I would definitely take a fluffy brush and just swirl it around in all of these and just work it in. And I would probably just focus on my cheeks a little bit. You can also just run it over your eyelids, wherever you like to bronze the best. To finish this look off, if we want to consider this a look, I would definitely go to another trend that was shown a lot with the lips, where they just showed a glossy lip. And I pulled out my favorite gloss. You know, I'm not a big gloss girl, but if you are a gloss lover, this is where you would want to go into your collection and pull out your favorite glosses. They did show them as mostly a sheer look so that your natural lips come through. I don't have a lot of color in my lips, but I pulled out my Fenty Gloss Bomb. I have it in the original shade, and I think that gives you like a really pretty, like no muss, no fuss, a summer look. Nothing on the eyes, no real blush, just kind of a glowy, bronzy look with a natural glossy lip. So in case you noticed something different about me, I did just tint my brows, and I did that because one of the other trends that they showed was this natural brow, like big fluffy unfilled in brows that just are living their best life. And I thought, you know, it's probably been 6 months since I've tinted my brows, and they were looking really pale. So I quickly did a quick tint. I'm going to leave a link to the way I tint my eyebrows down below in case you want to take a look at that. It's a pretty old video, but I still do it exactly the same way. I did leave the dye on a little bit longer this time, and so they came up a little darker. I'm kind of okay with it, but it seems pretty drastic to me at the moment. Before I leave this look that I have going on, I wanted to jump to another trend that I saw a lot, like everywhere. It seemed like every page that I opened up, this was a look that they had going on, and it was just a naked-ish face. I'll call this naked-ish, with a bold red lip, or a bold, like, fuchsia lip, you know, just a bold colored lip. I'm going to go ahead and remove this gloss, and I'm going to pop on a bold red lip. I think I'm going to use this one from Fenty. I have a couple of other lips that fall into this like bright bold category. Definitely also love the NARS Velvet Matte Lip Pencil in Cruella. This is an awesome red lip, but this one is a little bit brighter. I also have a really great like red lip pencil from Rimmel, and this is in Red Diva. So don't forget to look at your lip pencils as well. You might have a bright bold color there. And then I have another lip pencil in Fuchsia. This is just to kind of step away from the reds a little bit. And this one from YSL, which is like a rose, like a bright pink. I do in my collection have the Fenty Candy Venom, which is like a really bold lip, which would fall into this category as well. So looking at this look, I would probably add one thing to it before I would like step out the door. And that is I would probably do a quick little tight line. And I like this one from the drugstore. It's the Maybelline Master Precise Skinny because it has this ultra skinny little nib here. So I would just do a quick little tight line just to give my eyes a little bit more definition, but leave them without any mascara. With some of the looks that I saw with this big bold lip, they also had like a red sheer blush that they put on. And I don't own a red sheer blush. So for me, I would probably go in and take my lip color and just really gently apply that to the cheeks and blend it out. Even that's a little much. You know, in the spring trends, there was not a lot of focus on the cheeks or cheek color. It was all just kind of keep it bronzy, keep it just glowy and neutral. But if you're feeling like that's a little too pale, just go ahead and grab your lipstick and apply that just a little tiny bit. Even that's a little too much. I'm just going to grab a little bit of powder to tone that down. I love this kind of classic summer look with the red lip, not much else going on the face. I think it really wears well during the summer and gives you just a really finished, polished look without being really overdone when you're going to be maybe a little bit hot and a little bit sweaty. And so I'm a fan of this look, and I would definitely wear this. Would you wear this? I'm going to remove a few things, and we're going to go and focus on the eyes. I'm not even really sure where I want to start with the eyes because there's a whole lot going on there. So I think the one that I saw the most of, which I think is like really the craziest one of all, was a really bold, bright shadow, like almost neon. And in some cases they just used it like a liner. Sometimes it was all over the lid. Sometimes it was just on the mobile part of the lid. And it was all different shades. It was orange and yellow and red and like purples and just like all of those really deep saturated colors. And I thought, whoa, I don't have anything like that in my collection. But actually, I have things that I feel embrace that look. They're not very neon shades, but they are very saturated, bold colors that aren't ones that I reach for that often, but I thought, wow, this could really be something. If I were gonna embrace this look, this is where I would go. So I have a couple of palettes here that I'm gonna share with you that have these colors in them. And some of them you may have, some of them are old, some of them are newer, like it runs the gamut. But I'm just gonna go ahead and show you, and then I guess I'll just like quickly demo a bold look so we can look at that together and see what we think. So let's look at the palettes first. The first one I'm going to pull out may be a little controversial, and maybe you have it in your collection, maybe you've already decluttered it, but it is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. And the reason I pulled this out is because while these are very like fall looking colors, there are two here that I feel really embrace the look that I saw in my research. And one is a little bit orangey, one's a little bit more yellow, and I think these could potentially work. Then I'm going to go to the Kat Von D Matte Metal palette because there's a lot of color here. And I think you could easily go into this blue shade, maybe this green shade, this kind of purpley shade. I think these also embrace that feeling, that vibe from the research. So next up is this little palette from Marc Jacobs. It's the Frivolux palette, and there's this really bold purple shade in here. I think this shade could definitely fit the bill. Ooh, yes. Okay, two more palettes. I know you're going like, what? You have two more palettes that have these kind of shades in them? Well, yeah, I kind of do. And when you look through your collection, you might too. I have this one from Pat McGrath. It's the Subliminal one, is that what it is? And this blue shade here, I think could really do, just a really great bright accent. And the last one I'm going to pull out is this one from Dominique Cosmetics. This is the Latte palette. And I feel like, this teal color, this is a little dark, but these two could do in a pinch if you really wanted to bring a little bit more color to your summertime look. And that's them right here. That's a whole lot of color. None of it's neon, but I wouldn't be wearing neon, would you? No, probably not. That's very much a runway look, but to embrace that bright, bold color as like a liner or an underliner, I think either one of those would work. I actually think I'm going to grab this blue shade in here just for fun. I'm going to use like a pencil brush and just run that along the lash line. You know what? Maybe I'll start off a little bit smaller. A smudgy brush. I think I'll have a little bit more control and I can make it a little bit more like a liner. And because my eyes are hooded, I'm going to just bring a little bit of it down on the corner here. I want that color to show a little bit, and with a hooded eye, it's not going to show that much just using it as a liner. If you have more open eyes or a bigger lid to work with, it'll show up a little bit more. This is something you'd have to play around with and see you know, what's the best way you like this? You may not like it all. This is a pretty bold statement for me. And yeah, it's transferring up here. So I'm not sure I have quite the right eye situation to do this. Maybe I need to fill in a little bit more. So I think with a hooded eye like mine, if your eyes are like mine, I think you would do better to fill in like the mobile part of your lid. Again, this is just something you're going to have to like experiment with and see if this is a look that works for you, that you enjoy, that you like. You might want to just bring that bold color under your lower lash line and wear it that way. The whole point of this is not to copy it exactly, but to be inspired by it. I think if I wore this out, my husband might be like, what? What are you doing with your eyes today? And I think if you do decide to do this, I would definitely keep the lip very neutral, just like this little neutral gloss. So the next trend I want to talk about is like this soft sheer pinks that they showed all over the lid. And I think the key here is going to also not only be the color, but also the tool that you use to make sure you get a soft application. And for that, I would definitely be going into a little fluffy brush like this. But let's look at the palettes that I pulled out. The first one, which is a really obvious choice, is the Naked 3. It's all these soft mauvey pink shades, and I think anything in like the mid-tone. I think this shade Buzz fits the bill beautifully. You could go a little bit lighter, you go a little bit darker, but I would keep in like the front portion of the palette. The other palette that I pulled is from e.l.f. and it's the Nude Rose Gold palette. Lots of great choices in here, especially if you stay at this end of the palette. But I think I'm going to dive into this color here. There are no shade names on this palette, and I'm just going to go ahead and put some on this fluffy brush and do just a soft little wash all over the lid. And because you're using this little fluffy brush, I think it really diffuses the color beautifully. Almost pink, almost nude. They also showed a very sheer, like super blended out, blown out, like smoky eyes, using like taupes and grays. And, you know, I'm sure you have tons and tons in your collection that fit the bill here. I pulled out a couple from my collection. I liked the Lorac Pro 3 palette because I think there are some really great shades right down here that would give you a nice little blown out look, or even this cool taupe would work. You can see those here. Really soft, very blown out. And again, I would use a fluffy brush to apply these. Another one that I liked is this one from Rimmel. This Magnifies Shadow. Now mine says it's 01, Keep Calm and Wear Gold, but I think it is still 01, but it has been renamed. But if you stay in the, you know, like in the right here, in this mid-tone part of the palette, I think you can get some really pretty blown out taupey looks. And lastly, I even think this new palette to my collection, this Fame palette from ColourPop, would also do. I think if you just blow out, really lightly apply some of these shades, I think you would get just a really pretty soft, smoky eye. So I just took Cool Taupe and I just did a soft wash of that all over my lid and just brought it a little bit under my lower lash line to give me a little extra definition. I haven't done anything more to my face than what you saw me do earlier in the video, and I'm just using this little light gloss. So let me zoom in real close. So I wouldn't particularly pair all of these trends together. I would pick and choose. I think you can certainly pick your favorite complexion look, pair it with your favorite eye look, and depending on what you're doing up top in the eye, keep the lip kind of neutral, or if the eye up top is kind of bare, go for a bold lip. And I definitely did see where they did pair. Some of these trends showed up in multiple like looks. They weren't just singled out and just a glowy look or just a bold look. So, you know, it's the kind of thing where you probably want to play around with it and find the right combination for you. I publish videos every Saturday morning, and I'll include a link to last week's video right up here in case you missed it. And if you're new to my channel, just stopping by for the first time, please hit this little bee icon and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future videos.